Okay. All right. Hello, Knockouts. Tonya Tko here. And like I told you, I have a really special treat. Right now, we are with Preston Smiles.
Ooh, ooh. Let's get it. What's up, Knockouts? Yeah, I would call it. Why is it freezing?
I thought you said you had good internet
We
here.
definitely do.
Not like this, we don't.
I do lives every day. What the hell is happening?
I don't know.
There we go.
It's just like the people are coming in, but we're frozen.
There we go.
You see it?
Can you guys hear us?
Can you hear? Can you at least hear us? Oh goodness.
Hi, hello everyone.
Okay, so Benita is in the house.
Benita, I have a bum. You gotta put me on. There we go. What's that button do?
That closes the whole broadcast. Okay, so they can hear us.
There we go.
All right, so we're unfrozen. All right. All right, so listen, I have a really special treat for you right now. You know what, let me just do the intro again. Hello, Knockouts, Tonya Tko here, and I have a special treat for you. I'm with my homeboy, Preston Smiles, right here. And Preston, how would you describe yourself right now? What is it that you can, how would you describe? I tried to describe you to someone earlier, and I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm actually curious as to what you said, so I will describe myself.
It's like you're a motivational person.
A motivational person.
You're a motivational person.
I'll take that, but that's definitely not what I would call myself.
And I was like, and he does motivational things mainly for men, right?
Yeah, I think it's men and women.
Empowerment.
Yes, empowerment, that works as well.
But you have the whole man thing.
Yes, I do
the cave, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, Man Cave, we had a huge meeting today.
Did you?
With Man Cave Elite, yes. I would consider myself a personal freedom messenger, a success coach, a Swiss Army man, a permission slip, a sexy chocolate drop, who's been sent here to remind everybody of the one truth, which is love is all there is, was, and ever will be. All of that gets manifested in many ways. I write books, I lead workshops, I speak, I smile at cameras and make conscious content that has, love, the message of love in it. So I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you're a conscious, say it again?
Nope.
I got stuck on the sexy chocolate drop part. That's been come here to bring love. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the epic self-love journey that you... And so welcome in, everybody. Welcome.
What's up, family?
And so how did you get to where it is that you are right now in terms of self-love? Where did you come from?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to define where I am right now.
I know, but I got stuck on the sexy chocolate drop.
Where am I right now in my self-love journey?
Well, I know that since I've met you, that there's been like this traversing. Because when I met you, you were with Love Mob. And then, frozen again.
Let's pull your plug out.
Let's pull the plug out. Then, what shall we do? Into a different spot?
Yeah, you're going to have to let go of your idea about this light and all the lighting and stuff. Let's just go. Let's go with it. Yeah, just leave it there. Okay. Close the door. We got this. Oh, grab my phone, actually, so we can swipe into another room.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Knockout family, we're on the move. You see her?
See how short I am?
They are. She is short as hell. So that's definitely a thing that all of you guys get to know about her. Is that she is short as hell.
I'm tall. In spirit.
In spirit, exactly. The rest of it is not true. Okay.
You're so funny.
I said, wow.
No, it's just you're tall.
I am really tall.
How tall are you?
6'2".
You're like 6'6". He's like 6'6".
Here. Let's go right in here. Turn this up. Pull these things so we get natural lighting, and we'll go for it. You see, I gotta know, Preston is handsome. I'll take that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. You want to sit on the ground?
Huh?
You can.
Okay, we can do that.
Yep. All right, we down here. We with y'all. So.
Let's turn this up. All right.
Is this transmission clear? Can you guys hear us loud and clear?
Let me know.
So, self-love.
Yes. How did you get to where it is that you are right now in terms of self-love? Was there ever yourself?
Yeah. I think there's times Here's the thing. There are levels to the conversation about self-love. I don't know if there have been times where I definitely wasn't as loving to myself, my body, and the magic that is Preston Smiles. However, I would never say I didn't love myself, because everything we do, everything we be, is a unique expression of the Most High, in my opinion.
Right.
Even the stuff that we would consider bad or wrong, because right and wrong are mental constructs, they're subjective. Right? So right now we're saying that R. Kelly is wrong. We're saying that X, Y, and Z is wrong. However, in certain societies, maybe in another world, he or she isn't. Right? Yeah, true. In another country. However, the shoulds and all that stuff gets in the way sometimes of us really owning what's here and what's present. And so, yes, there was a time where I was deeply lost and operating from my wounds.
Okay.
Now, when I say wounds, I mean when I was, and I'll start here. When I was really young, my mom and dad started to sort of argue about whether I was special. And I don't mean special in like, oh, our son's so special. I mean, like, he is maybe mentally challenged or ill or whatever the case may be. So they started getting me tested when I was like 3 years old.
Okay.
And by the time I was 6, 7, I was placed in special education classes.
Okay.
And because my brain was still developing and my body was catching up to all of this, I made up a story, which became a trauma, that I was stupid.
Okay.
That I was less than, that I wasn't as good as everybody else, that I was fundamentally broken in some way.
Okay.
Now that wound, that core trauma, which everybody has 1 or 100 of those, really hundreds, became the filter from which I viewed the world.
Okay.
So I joined a gang because I wanted to feel accepted.
Right.
I wanted to feel loved. I wanted to feel a part of something, because all my friends were regular kids who weren't in the class with the kids who were drooling on themselves and playing with blocks. Now, for me, now, I see that those kids have superpowers, just like I have superpowers.
Gotcha.
Like, I wouldn't be Preston Smiles without those wounds. And because I don't think like, act like, talk like, and I have my own unique expression. Now, I want to make a distinction just real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that they are special in their wounds. They think they're special, but special doesn't exist.
What do you mean special in their wounds?
Sometimes I coach people and they'll be like, oh, but you don't know. Like, I'm struggling. Like, this happened to me, this happened to me. Yes. No,
like their struggle is unique.
That's exactly that. That's the distinction. Every single one of us is unique.
Yes.
But not special. Right? So there'll never be another Tonya.
Right.
Never.
Right.
And you're the only person who can dispense the medicine that was handwritten on your soul.
Okay.
But you aren't special. You're unique. You have medicine that only you can give. I'm not special.
They're saying it's breaking up.
Damn it. Can you guys hear us? Please type yes if you can. Handsome, is he gay? He is not gay. But if I was, tell me about what that would be for you. That's an interesting thing, you know? Like this idea, a couple weeks ago I got called a faggot twice.
Really?
One by a girl and one by a dude.
Where were you that this was happening?
One was in a Instagram sort of verified group, and the other one was on a comment. There was a bunch of dudes who were calling me gay and faggot and things like that. And I thought it was interesting that they used that as a term to put me down. Now, of course, I'm happily married with a child, and if I was gay, I'd just be fucking. Gay is not bad.
Right.
And this idea that we use gay as a slur to down talk people is I think it's just an interesting paradigm and worldview.
Yeah, but you were saying that I'm not special. You have to explain this.
Yeah, yes. So you are unique, but you're
I
not
am
special.
unique.
And what I mean by that is like people walk around thinking like their struggle is, or that because they you know made all this money or they got this fame that they're special in that way.
Okay.
They're not. All of us are an on purpose with many purposes. Every single one of us came here with not just one purpose, but many of them.
Okay, I feel you.
You get what I'm saying?
I feel you, but I want to hear about so when you say not special, you mean?
I mean that the idea...
Not different, are you talking about the hierarchy between
Yes.
me or somebody else and another person?
Yes.
Because we come from one universal energy.
Exactly. And the idea that even if it take other people out per se, the idea that like, oh, I should commit suicide because what's fucked up for me is more fucked up than everybody else. Or like, my self-love journey doesn't work because I'm special. Like you think you're fucked up, I'm really fucked up. That's it. What's hidden in there is I'm special. My pain is special, and I'm saying that it's not. That everybody struggles, and you know, I used to judge like white kids whose parents got divorced, right?
Okay.
And they'd be like, oh, you know, they're experiencing like deep sadness and like really going through it.
Yeah.
And I used to look at them and go like, for real? Like that's your trauma?
Okay.
Like I've dealt with. I've seen people die in my arms, and you're telling me that that's trauma?
Yeah.
But once I began to really look at my own consciousness around these things and understand that the body doesn't know any different.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yes.
So for instance, and you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So the trauma for that young white kid whose parents just got divorced, that's a big deal for them.
Yes.
And so sadness, fear. So there's 5 core emotions. Let me just go here. 5 core emotions.
Yes.
Fear, sadness, anger, joy, sexual feelings. Fear, sadness, joy, anger, sexual feelings. Everything else is a offshoot of those 5 core emotions.
Okay.
So when someone's experiencing those emotions, for them, sadness is sadness is sadness.
Right.
How it gets expressed through you is different than how it gets expressed through me, but neither one of us is special. You experience sadness, I experience sadness.
Okay.
You experience sexual feelings, I experience sexual feelings. You experience anger, so do I. You understand what I'm saying? So you're unique. You're definitely unique. That's why you got all these knockouts on here calling me gay and all that other stuff.
No, they did not call you gay. I think you're so silly. You're so silly.
You got your gay attacking me right now.
That you know that wasn't an attack. That was a compliment.
I know. I love them, and I love you, and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay, so you went through feeling like the trauma that you experienced was not special, or you had this trauma and then you came to the realization
thought it was special.
Okay, so you thought it was special.
And I came to realize that it's just the unique expression. Like I chose my parents.
Right.
I chose this time in human history to be here, whether I have a conscious understanding of that or not.
Right.
And how do I know? Based on results, right? Based on results, I chose them.
Right.
Which means I chose the drug addiction that I experienced in one of my parents. I chose all of that process. I chose to go to Louisiana. I chose all of that. And so what the shift in paradigm from I'm a victim to I chose this takes me from like someone else having my power to me having my power.
Right.
Which instantly becomes an act of self-love. Why? Because the moment I believe I co-created with the Creator, then I am now a part of a new conversation about what I want to create next.
Yes. You know what?
What? Tell me. Talk to me.
I'm so glad that you said that because I was talking with a colleague who was like, that sounds like victim blaming. The same kind of thing that you're saying. Because I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
That we chose our parents. We chose the outline of what it like. I chose to be born into a family where my mother would die young. And a lot of the other circumstances, the childhood molestation and all of these other things. And so I was talking to a colleague and she was basically saying, but Tonya, that sounds like victim blaming. How can you say that I am the one who chose to be raped, that I chose to be beat, that I chose XYZ? What's your explanation on that?
So there's a difference between being a victim and holding victim consciousness.
Oh, speak on it.
And the idea that someone, we can all be victims. We are. The air we're breathing right now, is not pure.
Nope.
So every one of us is a victim to the air. However, to hold victim consciousness, right? So like, this is when I become powerless, right? When I'm holding victim consciousness. And I think that I'm not taking away any pain that anybody's experienced. Right. Like I've experienced sexual abuse as a child. I've experienced seeing people die. I've experienced seeing some of my friends get shot in the head. Things like this are a part of the journey that I signed up called Preston. And I find it deeply empowering to have that worldview.
Yes.
Than to say, well, I'm just a victim to these parents that I came into. Because here's the thing, we know a lot of people, right? We would never have I Have a Dream without the victimization of Martin Luther King and other chocolate people. We would never have a Mother Teresa without the victimization and the fear of these diseased people with leprosy.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So we can't have it both ways.
Oh, when you say both ways, you mean?
So we can't blame, there is no victim blaming if we're saying this is all perfectly created and all of us are playing a part in whether it continues or whether we use it to create something new. Because everything is possibility. Everything is possibility. Let's take this room, for example.
Yes.
The moment I have the distinction called door, a new possibility opens up for me.
Okay.
Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's say you and I say, let's leave here.
Okay.
But we don't have the distinction called door or doorknob. What happens?
Okay. So what you're saying is that if we were in a place and we wanted to exit from that place,
yes,
but we were not able to differentiate or to be able to know what a door is, that is something that opens on a hinge, that has a doorknob that turns and unlatches. Okay, all right, so then I guess we would have the desire to be someplace else other than the room, but not the know-how of how to actually get out of the room. Right.
So then the moment we have that awareness, boom,
Yes.
right? I have the awareness, oh, doorknob, oh, boom. Not only do we have a new option, but the moment we walk out that door, what happens?
We have fulfilled our desire?
Yes, in that moment, and then what happens? A new what happens?
A new possibility?
A new millions of possibilities happen. And we cut off other possibilities. Because if I'm out of that door, where am I not at?
You're not inside the room
I'm
anymore.
not in this room anymore. And so this whole idea about we're blaming the victim and X, Y, and Z, for me, you can't have a Martin Luther King without the thing. We can't, like, all of it is perfect. Even if it was what we would call fucked up, because fucked up is a mental construct.
How does that relate to the door? Martin Luther King and the door. Make it make sense.
Yes,
for me.
okay, I'll make it make sense for you. So, your
Uh-huh.
friend said, if we say that
Yes.
someone chose something,
Yes.
then it is victim blaming.
Yes, I chose for you to rape me, so then you victim blaming.
Yes.
Yes.
So, and that's a whole nother conversation, because people who've had any type of sexual abuse
Yes.
tend to have that pattern repeated.
Yes, it's true.
Tend to.
Yes.
Now, are they consciously choosing? Because there's conscious and subconscious. So your friend is assuming that we're having a conscious conversation versus a subconscious conversation. Subconscious is, hey, I am fundamentally broken. I am fundamentally not good enough.
Okay.
And so the universe, God, Buddha, Allah, Krishna, whatever name is most potent for you, says yes. It always says yes. There is no in God's vocabulary, whatever we want to call God. So, being powerful as we are,
Yes.
we co-create with the Creator another scenario to affirm that I am not good enough, which is why people who are sexually abused tend to have it happen multiple times. Now, back to the door.
Wait, can we come back to the door?
Yes, that's what I just said. Back to the door.
No, not right now. Can we come back to it in a moment?
Yes.
All right. So when it comes to childhood sexual abuse, right? Mm-hmm. And okay, so a person.
I love these comments. That's right. Put the comments back up.
I think you just go like that.
You're wrong. God answers with yes, no, or wait. Okay. So what if?
Wait, I want to ask my question. Can you hold that? Can you hold that thought?
Okay.
All right. With the God, yes or wait. Okay. So if a person, because I know I have my theory on it, but I'm interested in your theory.
Beautiful.
So you know that there are children who let's use a child sex trafficked in Asia.
Yep.
Right. 5 years old, trafficked into sex.
Yep.
All right. Before that person trafficked them, where was the thought that I'm not good enough?
What do you mean?
Before that stimuli, it was the stimuli that came and was interpreted by the child.
For sure.
So now the child is like, oh, I deserve this. I'm not good enough.
Yes.
I'm not worthy.
So here
but
we
before
go.
that stimuli, the child was perfect.
I completely understand where you're going, and I've played with this exact same logic.
All right, let's do it.
So let's do this.
Let's do it.
Okay, so all of this assumes, right? And this is what humans do all the time. We have our myopic viewpoint, and it's all from the conscious mind, right?
Okay.
And we logic. I understand logic. Do we though? Because back to what we don't know. This is what we don't know. Okay. Because there's so much we don't know, but that gets clouded in what we think we do know.
All right.
So what we don't know is what happens prior to that moment. So there's a moment, right? Sex happens, the two come together and become a new thing.
Yes.
And then there's a moment.
Yes.
When it goes zoom zoom boop 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 boop.
That's how you learned it in biology.
No, I didn't learn shit in biology because I cheated my way through it.
Just zoom zoom. All right, go ahead.
But hear me.
Crank that.
Hear me.
Oh, do it.
The engine starts and a heartbeat. Science still can't explain this. Nobody can explain it. Why does it start at that moment and not a moment before that? So, back to it.
Yes.
What has someone choose, right? Because we can say the same thing about someone coming in with one arm, or dyslexic, or with a dis-ease that is going to kill them within 3 years.
Yes,
right?
yes. Oh, talk about it.
Right? You see where I'm going with this? Like, it's all connected, right?
Yes.
So all of it comes from our myopic viewpoint, which we call bad. We look at that and we say, that's bad.
Yes.
You came in with one arm, bad. You are disabled.
Yes.
Like, hear me. We are, because we build worlds with our language.
Yes,
right? So we build worlds with our language. We are linguistic beings, social and historical beings.
Yes.
Biological beings.
Yes.
Linguistic beings, quantum beings.
Now we get into quantums. Talk about it, Preston.
Still can't completely explain that, so we call it God, we call it Jesus, we call it Buddha, we call it Allah, we call it source energy.
Yes.
Right? But the linguistics are attached to the social and historical programming that we received.
Talk
and so
about it.
The way that we've held people with disabilities, people with certain pains that we see, we say, oh, that's bad, that's fucked up. You have a fucked up life.
Yes.
So, here we go. The child, and remember, if you rewind this video back, you'll hear me say people who have experienced sexual abuse tend to have that repeated. Like, hear me, right? Now, you brought up the child who's trafficked in India, which I've been to India, I've been to Africa.
I said Asia, but we could do India. But Asia.
That is considered Asia.
Of course.
But I hear you.
But I wanted to just keep it non-country
Yes,
specific.
queen, yes, let's get it, let's go. Yes. Right? Does that affirm your social and historical programming for me?
Preston!
No, but that's, she's a real ass person, so you gotta imagine who I am if we're homies, right? So,
yes.
And I would people consider me a philosopher at times,
Yes,
a gangster philosopher. I think the shit out of
You
stuff.
think very
I'd be
deeply.
all over the place.
Yes.
So that the child,
Yes.
we assume,
Yes.
based on our social and historical programming and understanding, that child is being raised into or born into a fucked up situation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here we go. Let's play this game.
Yes.
Do you know who Candace Lightner is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is the woman who created Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Okay.
Do you know her story?
I don't, but I'm sure her child must have died from a drunk driver.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure she'd rather have her baby.
Yes.
However, there's something greater at play. There's
Okay.
something that is outside of the myopic view that we have as Americans, or Black Americans, or Mexican Americans, or whatever we are,
Okay.
wherever you're watching this from.
Yes.
There's something bigger than that is outside of our social and historical programming. And so whatever was trying to be birthed through Candace to create Mothers Against Drunk Driving had to, how do we know? Based on
Right.
results.
Right.
Fucking facts. What is a fact? Her fact is her child is not on this side of the veil. Can you guys hear me? Like, her child isn't here.
Right.
So this is facts.
So let's talk the child sex trafficked in Asia.
Yes.
Right? Someone smothers her to death at the age of 7. Now
Boom.
she's gone.
Yes.
No one wept for her.
Maybe.
Okay.
How do we know? But also, what if the person who smothered her
Yes.
goes on to save 12 million children because of the guilt that they feel?
Okay.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Okay,
Like,
so the
it's,
interconnectivity.
it's all interdependent and interconnected. And
Okay.
so we assume, and we want to have these little baby interventions, and I'm not mad at that. I'm a part of that. I've spent fucking $40,000 in the last few years in Africa.
Okay, I feel
Building
you.
clean water wells, putting my own money and my own time and my own sweat, going into the
Yes.
bush, being with people,
Yes.
right? But also not wanting to impose my social and historical programming
Right.
on these poor people because they aren't poor. I'll tell you a quick story. I went to Tanzania a few years ago. I've been going every year. And I went into the bush and we went to this particular village and they said this is one of the poorest villages like
Yes, and they were
in the
singing,
bush.
they had songs,
Singing,
jubilation.
dancing, like
It's amazing,
dirty
isn't
as
it?
fuck, but like in it, right?
Yes.
And I went there thinking, oh, these poor people.
Uh-huh.
And quickly ran into some kings and some queens. And I broke down because I realized that there were people in my own family, people I knew all over the US that didn't hold themselves in that high regard and that dignity.
Okay.
And so I was bringing my own story
Gotcha.
to what I believed was their pain and they're terrible and they're messed up and they don't have iPhones like I do, so they must be in a bad place. And yet all they needed was clean water because it's all interconnected. And so we try to go over there and give them our Christian values and our Christian idea about how they should be and rob them of their own gods and sort of give them our white one and go, oh yeah, here you go. You poor heathens, here you go.
Can't with that voice.
Like,
Really? You're so silly.
Yas, Quang, let's go.
You're so silly. Okay.
iPhones suck, but carry on.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Did you all catch that? Because we circled back around and I caught it.
Yes,
I caught it on the way back
definitely
around.
a different
and listen,
conversation.
you know what? And I totally feel you on that. I totally feel you on that because I don't know how many of you have you ever done a past life regression?
I have.
Okay.
They're interesting.
Yes. And so I actually did a pre-birth regression,
Ooh, get 'em.
right until the moment of entering into the world.
Whoa.
And it was a really powerful experience because it was then that I realized the components of the family I would choose to be born into and some of the circumstances. And my theory on it is that we don't necessarily choose the sexual abuse so much as there is a theme that we have for our lives that we want to enact. And the sexual abuse is a vehicle for that.
To have that thing.
Right, exactly, because we're all suggestible to different things.
Yeah.
And for some people it will take the sexual abuse. For others it'll take their parents divorcing.
Yes.
So I totally feel you on that.
For sure.
So I know that you have time constraints. Self-love.
Yes.
How did you go from being in a place where you were not as loving to yourself and your body and your being into now being in a fuller expression of what?
It's hard for me because some of these comments, I really want to comment back on them because I think it's awesome.
Okay, well, you know what? If you want to take some of them, go ahead. Because I know you said we had 45 minutes, right?
Yes.
And it's 29 right now.
Okay, but we're good.
Okay.
You're not in control. You don't even know what you're doing to take your last breath of air. That's real talk. I agree on multiple levels, which is why that next comment of God gave us agency over our own narratives. And here's the thing, I'm not law, I'm just one beautiful Afro-amazing human here having a conversation. However, I think that's true and it's also not true. And these are both lowercase t's, not a capital T truth. When I say agency, yes, agency, and over our own narratives, yes, and nobody gets a blank slate. Nobody gets a clean canvas, unless you're brain dead.
What do you mean brain dead? What?
So the idea that, I'm going to author and be authentic. What is authentic? Does that even exist? Because everything is touching everything and everything is helping shape.
Authentic exists.
Within what has already existed.
What do you mean?
So for instance, you could say, this outfit is authentic. And yet this outfit exists within what are the options that have been given within the constructs of what we call society and clothes and things of that nature. And so,
but when it comes to a human being though, because all you have to do is exist to be authentic.
Yes, because no one's doing their arm like this right now at this exact moment. Yeah, I hear you on that.
What is this?
This is authentic, right?
No, what are you talking about?
You said just being human is being authentic, but
right.
what I'm saying...
Is this a gang symbol or a person with a short arm?
All of this. Because
we were talking about that earlier.
We were.
Okay, you lost me. Is this like one of those short arms?
You're trying to lose that... See, I'm gonna get you. Hear me. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay,
I'm agreeing with you, yes. And I'm also disagreeing.
Okay.
So yes, authentic exists in the sense of, in this moment,
yes, we
are being as authentic as we possibly can, given the language that you did not choose.
Okay. Oh.
The name you didn't choose. All of these things. There's
right,
no
that's
clear
deep. That's deep. I feel you on that. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Giving the context of what we've been given, we're authentic within the context. But we don't get a blank slate.
Okay.
I don't get to be like, well, I only speak Swahili. No, bitch, you speak fucking English because your great-grandparents were raped and killed and murdered to a point where they stole their God and changed you into this. So,
I got you. So even identifying with a gender can make us inauthentic.
For sure.
All right.
I mean, I get it. There's dicks and pussies and things in between, whatever those things are. However, what we even attach to the gender is not authentic. So the idea of what manhood is, right? So I do men's work.
Yes.
The idea of what a man is the thing that is in the way of most men. Because they think it's their muscles, their dick, their money, the things they have.
Okay.
And so they
So what is manhood then?
It's being recreated as we speak. It's being itself and honoring whatever is alive for you in that moment.
How is that manhood? Why even use the word man if it has nothing to do with men?
Well, it does, because we have different chemicals.
Why don't you just call it personhood then?
We could, but what we do know...
What?
Hear this. What we do know is that there's a beautiful dance that happens inside of you every single month that makes it possible for life to exist.
Yes, of course, yes.
And because of that dance, you have some chemicals in your body, some things happening that don't happen in mine. And so we make the distinction called woman.
Okay.
Right? We can call you shmashna and shmashma, right? Whatever sounds we put to that.
Okay, yes, I feel you.
There is a difference based on the testosterone that I have raging through my body that you don't necessarily have at the level.
Testosterone raging through you?
I do. I have double what is the average of most men.
So that means you're going to lose your hair.
No, it means I'm going to have a freaking giant afro for the rest of my life.
No, too much testosterone is hair loss.
It's not too much. I have more than what most men have. I'll do my best not to curse, but tell me about what the profanity is.
You have to be authentic.
Yeah. No, but all of it.
Okay.
All of it, and maybe they're talking to each other, I don't know, but all of it is...
manhood. What is manhood?
Yes. Manhood is being redefined. I said it's being present to whatever's there for you. It's allowing, it's being... we call it integrated masculine. We call it being above the line.
Okay.
Which for me, and the definition that I've given it, doesn't make it true, is being in integrity.
Okay.
Operating from love.
Okay.
Holding space for other men.
Okay.
And women.
Okay.
It's power with versus power over. It is a beautiful dance where a man gets to own his king. And the king, if a man doesn't have a king, if he's not playing with his archetypal king energy, it's like having a Ferrari with no driver or no steering wheel.
Okay.
You got all this power but nowhere to go with it.
Got you.
So the moment a man steps into his kingdom,
yes,
and starts to own that,
yes,
then he gets to enact and pull his warrior out. And so king, warrior, the lover energy, the fool energy, which is the playful aspect of himself, and the mystic, which the king takes counsel from the mystic energy, the spiritual side of us, the side of us that knows that there's a part of all of us that has never been hurt, harmed, or endangered. There's a part of all of us that is deeply connected and loving and knows that there's only one of us here. Like, that's the trippy thing. I've been studying aspen groves, and an aspen grove is a tree system that sometimes can go for thousands of miles and have thousands of trees. And above ground, it looks like a bunch of individual trees.
Oh, right, but underneath is just one connected tree, kind of like us. However, I'm so confused as to why your definition of manhood has nothing to do with men or the difference between man and woman.
But how do you know that's the case?
Because the definition that you gave could apply to anyone.
Yeah, it could.
It could apply to a woman. So your definition of manhood could be womanhood.
Yes, it could.
Minus the beautiful dance of your
Absolutely. Mom. Yes. But that's the whole point. That's why I ended with the aspen grove. So above ground, they look like individual trees with individual leaves, and one of them's pretty and has pearls, and the other one has a green shirt on and has a little bit of a beard and a scruff, and all of it looks like above ground.
Yes.
All of it above ground looks like individuals, but they're all deeply rooted in one system. So
there's no manhood. There can if manhood is womanhood, then there's no manhood.
No, it's all a journey home to the self. It's all in coming back into alignment and being in integrity, which means being whole with whatever is there in the moment, which is what I started with before I gave you more linguistics around what I think.
Okay. I think this is interesting because if there's no definitive discernative, I don't think discernative is a word, but if there's no discernative difference that a male enacts because of the differences even in just his biological makeup, right? Then we're talking about the erasure of what is considered masculine and feminine.
Yeah, potentially. But there is a difference in our
This sounds like people who don't want to pay for the first date.
Yeah, potentially.
I'm not down with this.
No, you're not?
No.
Yeah, I hear that. That could be tough for sure. It could be. I hear you. Are you dating?
Huh?
Are you dating?
I am.
Who?
Myself. I'm going on this beautiful dance and journey of returning into the oneness. What difference would it make to date if there's no difference between men and women? We could just date ourselves in the oneness.
I don't know about all that.
Why not?
It's not. So going back to my distinction. is all of us are unique, but not special. And the uniqueness is difference. Like the medicine you have is not the medicine I have. Yes, we both speak English, but we both have eyes and identify as humans.
Yes.
And if we go deeper,
yes,
the unique expression of God that I am is not the same as yours, but we are all firmly rooted in the same isness.
yes. And I feel you on that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you. And it was a person's comment that you wanted to go back to that said that God answers in yes, no, or wait.
Mm-hmm.
You said you wanted to circle back to that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary at this point. Because everybody gets to have their opinion about it. If we just take a deeper look at it, it's all a yes. Because even when you receive a no, it's actually a yes. I've received a lot of no's that were actually a yes for something greater that I could not see at the time. Okay. And so this idea that it's a yes and a no, and it's all yes.
Okay. Oh.
Hey. All good. Yeah, all good.
Couch surfing to millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen?
Looking at whose stuff I was holding. So most of my life I could make more than $60,000 a year. And then at 33 I moved back in with my mother, and I decided to take a look at what was mine and what was theirs. And I started to realize that generationally I had been passed down an idea about money being the root of all evil, and that rich people were cheats and liars and stealers and all of these other things. And so I didn't want to be any of those things.
Right.
Subconsciously.
Right.
This wasn't even a conscious thought. Consciously I was like, I want to be rich, I want to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Under all of that was the programming that I received from my mother, which she got from her mother and her mother and her mother, the programming I received from my father, which he got from his father, her father, and so on. And so I began to cut the cords.
How did you first realize, though, that it was not your idea? Because if it seemed like your, like consciously you were like, I want to be wealthy.
Yes.
But subconsciously you were like, do you want to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We're on a mission. We're on a mission. So let's see if it works again.
So how did you know? How were you able to differentiate that was not your stuff?
By asking powerful questions, because powerful questions call for powerful answers.
Were you asking them to yourself?
I was asking them to myself.
Okay. What was the impetus? Like, when did you, okay, so you were never able to make more than 60 grand.
That, just looking at like
so you said, what's
the pattern?
Have I never been able to make more than 60K?
That, do I believe I'm worthy of more than that? Yes. But what's in the way? Why is that? You know what? I know exactly where we're going. Why are we not able to do that? This is actually a fun little adventure. Okay, there we go.
Search for Wi-Fi.
What is that? Big ass office. Yeah, it is a big ass office. Oh, I know where we're going. Because nobody's in here. This whole thing. Boom.
Okay. I'll put up the pass key. Oops. Let me let you do that. The chivalry way.
No, that won't work.
Do that.
You guys are so good. Alright, we're going this way. Yeah, this is a big ass co-working office thing, space where myself and another crew works out of. Okay, so where are we at?
Alright. You're saying that my listening has me thinking that you said that there's no distinction.
Yes. You want to be. You're holding on to the idea that everything is the same and we're the same, and so therefore somebody's calling.
I'm going to catch that in a second.
Yeah, let's make sure everybody's here. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah. I'm so glad we had this talk, Preston.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been fun. You know, you guys call me gay right out the gate.
You seem to keep circling back to that.
I just think it's funny.
But it keeps coming up.
Yeah. It's true.
One mention is something. Two, pay attention. Three, it's in there. Four.
Got me. Who's coming? Interesting name choice. What are we talking about here?
Who knows? So.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
You're saying that my listening, but that's fine. So you were able to, so we'll talk about my listening later because I know that we have, our time.
Huh?
Our time is 45 minutes.
It's okay.
Okay.
Well, 6 more minutes.
Okay, all right. You said that you were able to ask yourself the question, why have I never been able to get out of this? And so you discovered that there was deep inside there was the message that money is bad, the root of all evil, and that there was a part of you that did not want to identify with that.
Yes.
So then you were able to, so first...
And then I began to see all the ways in which I sabotaged any time that I was going to potentially break that $60,000, that's as much as I can make thing. And so I would just somehow mess it up.
Yes.
Because I wasn't the body, I wasn't the container to hold what I consciously said I wanted, but subconsciously was trying my very best not to have. And that is what we would call cognitive dissonance.
Yes, yes.
Where who we say we are, consciously and unconsciously, we will spend the rest of our lives trying to prove.
Okay, I feel you on that.
You feel what I'm saying? So I was trying to prove, no matter what, that, and I wasn't a sellout, and I wasn't going to leave my friends behind. All of that showed up in the space.
Okay. Okay, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. All right. Ronnie, do you need a timeout again today?
Yes, somebody is going hard.
Behave yourself inside the room because you know what happened yesterday. But nonetheless, so... Okay. So then you identified and then you started and then you realized, but then what did you do to reprogram the subconscious? Because you know that we're all operating from scripts. So that even if you see that the script is running, that you are powerless to do anything about it unless you actually...
Every time you shine a light on something,
and
bring awareness to it, it instantly gives you choice. So back to it. We can't leave this room if we don't have the distinction called door. The moment I have the distinction called, oh, there's a sabotage. There's another moment where I'm trying to block my blessings. Ah, I caught you. I see you. Here's the light. Boom. Now you no longer have me. I have a new choice. What do I choose now? What would love do now? How would I move? How would I be? What would I say if I was moving from the power and the abundance that I truly know I came here to give and have? And that, over and over and over and over and over again, became a new way of being. And it wasn't new. It's what I was born with. It's who that's how I came. All the rest of it was the muck and the mire and the bullshit that people put on me and told me subconsciously, little things here and there, right? That black boys are this.
Yes.
And nothing else. You're either a killer, you're a drug dealer, you're a rapper, you're a basketball player. Or nothing else.
Got you. All right. So so listen. Question. Because you know I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist when I was out here. And so I deal with a lot of people who are attempting to rewrite their program, attempting to rewrite their script. So like most of us know what it is that we need to do, but doing it is a matter of conscious effort. Not only conscious, but also rewriting the programming that's running like the computer program underneath it all. So what you're saying is shine a light on it and then you have the conscientious choice.
Yes, and here's a practical way to do that. I would set 3 alarms in my phone every day.
Okay.
And every time those alarms went off, I would bring an awareness to what I was thinking.
Okay.
What was showing up in my space, what was happening in my body.
Okay.
Abundance begets abundance.
Yes.
And that starts with the container that we come in. Right? The way to have more is to truly be grateful for and like bask in what you have right now. Right? And so that ends up creating more of that because you cannot have what you want, but you may experience what you have. Period. Hear that again. I got to say it again.
Yeah.
I literally say this to myself all the time. You cannot have what you want because the act of wanting, as you know, says doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yes.
But you may experience what you have. Now, the having, most people think is in materials. But I know a lot of people with Ferraris and other things like that who aren't having much, because they're poor on the inside.
Yeah.
They figured out the universal power, the same power that Hitler had, the same power that Gandhi had, the same power that Mother Teresa had, all of us have. There is no difference. This idea that there are some haves and some have-nots is not true. God never made a mistake, not one single time. And that God is using all of us. The question is how willing are you to sit in that yes and to remove anything that does not serve that yes? And for me, I got gangster about it. I got radical about it and start looking at it on a daily basis 3 times a day. Okay. And then that 3 times went to 7, and that 7 times went to 20, and then the alarms just went off.
Just
Why?
to check.
Because I'm already here.
Gotcha.
Boom. Here now. Here now. Here now. What's here now?
Got you. So 3 times a day you would set the alarm, and then you would be mindful about what it is that you were experiencing inside emotionally.
And then after that, choose something else.
Got you. Someone says right here, I wanted to highlight this. She said that she doesn't agree that most of us know what we need to do, not enough self-reflection. What are your thoughts on that? Kenya said that. What do you think about that? Do you think most of us don't know what we need to do? Say it.
I would say most of us do.
Okay.
Like real talk. Like I think most of us do, and yet we scroll, and yet we because the pain, the suffering, not the pain, the suffering becomes addictive, right?
Okay.
Which goes back to the special, right?
Yes.
See, I can't make it because I'm this, or I weigh this, or I'm this color, and so I don't know what to do because look at the pain, and so I'll scroll. And I'll do X, Y, and Z, and I'll whatever that thing is. You feel what I'm saying?
Talk about it.
So that's the.
So you. Remember we were talking about the girl in Asia, sex trafficked, and we were talking about the awareness and the power of this young lady. That we look at her and we think, oh, she's a victim of this, but we don't know what her choice is. Because in order to feel sorry for a person, we have to think that they are lesser than they actually are. So when we talk about whether or not we do know what we need to do, are we the reflection and the manifestation of a universal energy?
Yes, right? Because there's race thought. There's race thought. There's like my thought, and then there's collective conscious thought.
Okay, talk about it.
I'm not talking about race thought.
Okay.
I'm talking about like, yep, I know who I am.
Okay.
Like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm here for something great.
Okay.
And whatever that greatness is, if it's raising a beautiful baby girl or baby boy, if it's being nice to the barista at the coffee shop that I go to every day, whatever that thing is, just like actually allowing that urge to that itch to be scratched, like actually letting that thing land. To me is where all the magic is, and where that's what moves the needle for people. Is when they become present to the presence. It's already here.
Present to the presence.
Yes.
The presence of?
Whatever you want to call that. The isness, the thing we can't explain. We don't know what's in the fucking ocean, let alone what God is.
Okay, so, you know something. Listen, don't get us in trouble.
I'm just saying.
Don't get us in trouble.
We don't know what's in the ocean.
Okay. Do you ever feel sympathy for people?
Sympathy? Sometimes, most of the time not, because there's a distinction between empathy, sympathy, and compassion. Sympathy says, I feel sorry for you.
Yes.
Empathy says, I feel your pain.
Yes. Okay. And compassion? Compassion
says, I see what you're being with. And I could see how that would be tough for you. However, my joy is here now. And I will invite you up here. Or you can stay there. But I'm going to stay here.
That's compassion?
Oh, yes it is.
You're going to have to give me where you got that definition.
It's the one I made up. It's the linguistic beings.
Compassion is I see you. You can come up here. You don't have to, but I'm going to be up here.
For sure. We are autonomous beings that have a choice to a degree in what we choose, right? Back to that whole narratives conversation. Of what we are going to attach to, because what we focus on expands, and what we appreciate appreciates. And so if I see you or this person, right, saying something like this, and I've had this happen many times.
I'm ready for it.
White people are the devil. I've had people have this conversation with me. They're trying to kill us all. And
Lord of mercy.
You are contributing to it by being with your white wife.
Oh,
Right?
ouch,
Let's-
ouch, ouch,
let's-
ouch,
let's
ouch.
take it
Someone
there.
said that to you?
Right. People say all kinds of
That
weird
you're
shit.
contributing to the killing of us all.
Yeah, to a degree.
Oh, wow.
I'm paraphrasing, but
Okay.
to that,
Okay.
something in that nature.
Okay.
And I see that, and I don't go, I feel sorry for you. I don't say, I'm gonna feel that. Fuck, I'm not gonna feel that.
Right.
I say, I see where you're at. And I
Okay.
can see how you can come up with that based on your own social and historical programming and conditioning. But I'm gonna hold the high watch and my joy right here,
Yes.
or whatever, or my anger, whatever it is. I'm gonna be with it.
Yeah, talk about it. I'm here for it.
To speak into my life.
Yes.
And so I have compassion for where you are because I know that's a
Okay.
heavy thing to hold.
Okay.
I've held it before myself.
Oh,
Right?
wait a minute.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
You felt that white people were the devil, Preston?
To a degree. Not like for real, but I've had some, I've looked at some things just historically of who conquers and
Yeah.
rapes and kills and steals and looked at that. But the thing is that it goes back to the Aspen Grove, this idea that it's white and black and all these other colors. Like the reality is we're all in the same soup. And yet I come in this skin suit that people judge and follow me around liquor stores and stuff like that because they see my black skin and they have a idea about who I am.
Yes.
Based on their own social and historical programming.
Right.
And so at that moment, I don't feel sorry for them.
I feel compassion.
I feel compassion. Like, oof, that's got to be fucked. And yes, sometimes it makes me upset. And then I allow that upset to be there, and then I let it pass, and I keep it moving.
But remember, you talked about race consciousness, right? You know, there are two different. I'm sure there are more than just two existences that we have, right? Where one existence is the universal energy that we all are, with a little bit of it just coupled into these skin suits, as you call it. And then outside of that, or inside of that, is the human experience, where we have DNA, where there is genetic memory and things like that.
Yes.
And there are certain people who have throughout history behaved in a certain way in the human existence. So yes, where you talk about the aspen tree, where we're all connected to this universal energy.
Yes.
However, the way certain ones of them sprout up in their body, right? Certain.
I see where you're going with this. I can't.
You refuse?
I see where you're going. And the thing of the aspen grove is if one tree gets sick or starts to die, what happens is the whole root system sends nutrients over to that tree to help heal it. And I believe that you're a nutrient and I'm a nutrient.
Okay.
And anybody who says, I hear the call, I hear you, God, I'm going to step in, take the arrows from some people, right? Like whoever this Ronnie guy is or whoever.
Is Ronnie needing a timeout? Did he say something?
I don't know.
Oh.
Ronnie's doing his thing. But the point is like we'll step in and take the arrows and be okay with whatever's showing up because we are a part of.
So you're saying that black people are here to heal white people?
No. I'm saying that some people who hear the call, because there's a lot of what you would call white people who also hear the call, who are a part of the healing of some of that hatred that has been enacted on and used. A lot of people have used the Bible for years as a way to to say that I was and my ancestors were less of a man, like we were property, and so we're here, and there's whites, blacks, Mexicans, Spanish, Asian, all of the things here to help heal the virus consciousness, this idea that some people are better than others.
Yes, and you think we're here now?
Yes, we're here, and it's
I
game time.
I think we're here now too. I think that it's come to a boiling point, and it's either.
Or we'll be shaken off of the planet.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Listen, everybody, Preston has to go. I want to be respectful of his time. This has been a riveting conversation for me. We have to do this again. I learned some things today. I've gained a new perspective on something. So listen, everybody, tell them how to find you.
If you're on YouTube, which this is on, just go to Preston Smiles and you'll find some of my videos. As I'm sure you can see, I can be a little triggering for some people.
You think you trigger people?
Some people, yeah.
Really?
I think yeah, like he said that some of them were mad at my cursing, especially the things I talk about, like for instance the Bible is a thing, and I don't want to take anybody's God from them, but to point out something that is actually in so many ways a fact is very hurtful because it instantly makes them have to look at it. And sometimes that can be, and I know I'm here to rattle cages.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I'm called here to rattle cages, and I'm okay with that because I love everybody and I love myself and I love white people and black people and all that stuff because we're all in the same soup, the same root system. There is no white and black when it comes down to it. But right now, this is what we're working through. So I love you all. I love you all. And I appreciate you all. And if you want to hop onto my channel and look at some of my stuff, please do. But you're following an amazing human. She's doing the damn thing, and I appreciate you. None of us are better than each other. We're all in this together, for real, for real.
Give me a hug, Preston. This is so nice. I'm so glad we had an opportunity to talk.
Yeah,
we should do this more often, have a jam session.
Do it.
So listen, everybody, thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to have to watch this video again myself. So, and I'm actually going to upload this to Facebook. So I want to get that up there so that we can... They love you, Preston. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe, share the video, comment below. I want to hear your comments. If you're seeing this after the live, tell us what you thought. I am going to be in the comments. Are you going to come to the comments and talk to people?
Yeah, I'm going to go look. I'm going to look. Maybe tomorrow.
All right, then thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.